Welcome food fans, picky eaters, the flavor curious, and everyone in between. Nothing makes good food better than good conversation. And your table is ready. Come right this way to the Food for Thoughtcast with your host, Melissa Reagan. But you can call her Chef. All right, let's get this episode started.
As a chef and a person who loves all kinds of food, I'm always looking for ways that I can emphasize quality over quantity without feeling like I'm missing out or depriving myself of the things that I love. And I love pasta. Carbonara, mac and cheese, primavera, cacio e pepe, you name it and I'm all about it. That's why I choose Banza. Banza is the pasta made from chickpeas, which means it has more protein, more fiber, and I believe more flavor than regular old pasta. Seriously, if you go in my pantry right now, there are 2 boxes in there awaiting their next culinary adventure. Banza has over 12 different kinds of pasta, including penne, rotini, elbows, and cavatappi, which is my favorite, because all of those curves and ridges hold even more delicious sauce. Banza also makes pizza crust, which tastes too good to believe that it comes from peas. You can find Banza at Whole Foods, Target, and Walmart. Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food for Thoughtcast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan. I hope you're having an amazing week. As always, you can call me Chef, and I am joined by, we're calling the shot now. I'm just going to call him. He is the official co-host of the Food for Thoughtcast, Chef Steven Gonzalez. What's up?
I am? Yeah.
Yes.
That's good news. Awesome.
Yes. He had like 2 minutes notice. I told him that right before we started. So here we are. Yes. I mean, absolutely. I couldn't think of anybody better. This week, we want to talk about the Texas State Fair. But first, I have to ask you, what was the most amazing thing you ate this week?
You know, I have not really had a decent meal this week. I have been so busy with work. And you know what? I'm just going to go out and say it. The best meal I've had all week so far has been an egg and cheese sandwich. Yeah, done. Simple. Breakfast.
Okay. I'm not mad at it. What kind of egg or what kind of cheese and what kind of bread?
So I'm a big fan of that HEB, like that 7-grain bread. It's just really good. And then just, some sharp cheddar, nothing simple or nothing crazy. You just kind of soft scramble your eggs, toast your bread with a little bit of some butter, let all that cheese melt on. But you got to do like a slice on both slices of bread. You can't just put cheese on one side. You got to do it all over.
Right. So what's the strategy? What are we talking about here? Do you butter the outside of the bread like a grilled cheese sandwich? Do you let the cheese melt a little bit? Do you construct it and then toast it, like completely constructed, or what?
What I like to do is I'll get a little bit of some butter and I'll do both sides of the bread, and then I'll just put it like on a cast iron, and I'll just kind of let it toast on its own. So once I get a good toast on like the first side, once I flip it, that's when I throw my cheese on there, because that heat will also melt that cheese. And then if you're lucky, so my wife this past time, she said, we have some onion jam in the fridge. Let's throw some of that on there. So you got like that sweet, that sharp cheddar, that savory, and then of course your eggs and all that. Oh, it's good.
God bless. That's good stuff. This week I also had a sandwich. Everybody's going to think it was terrible. I don't care because I'm the only one that ate it. I just, you can cancel me. It's fine. I had kind of a play on a turkey Reuben, but I put peanut butter on it. So
turkey Reuben with peanut butter, you said?
Yeah, so it wasn't a full-on Reuben. It was like kind of a coleslaw, Thousand Island turkey on rye type deal.
Right.
But a little peanut butter and yeah, some little garlic and onion powder on the turkey. It's just kind of umami,
I would totally try that.
I Dude, there's nothing that peanut butter is not good on. I don't care.
I don't know about all that, but I would be willing to try it. So therefore,
Yeah.
I'm open to it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, it was your first time at the fair. We posted on each other's
Don't
socials.
tell everybody. Okay. Yeah, you can.
Yes, the word's
late.
out.
Cat's out the bag.
Dude, the word's out like Chef Stevens, or no longer, but once was a Texas State Fair virgin. So you have to tell me first impressions.
Oh my goodness. Did we pick the right day to go? Because it was cloudy and then it got sunny and then it was cloudy. So it was awesome weather-wise.
Yes.
We walked up and you just see not a lot of people, which I was expecting it to be a madhouse with people. And I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better day. Like we went on a Thursday and it was just the best time to go. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was gorgeous. So at full disclosure, I think this was the first time in a very long time, or perhaps the only time I had ever been on a Thursday during the day. Our schedules just lined up beautifully. It wasn't too crowded. And overall, I mean, super positive on the food. I think we tried something like 13 things total, and maybe like one of them didn't hit.
Was it only 13? I don't I lost count after like 5, you know. But everything, you're right. Everything we ate was awesome. There was one. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It wasn't awful. It didn't suck. We'll say that.
Right.
But it was, I mean, it's not what I expected.
So in chef terms, for anybody listening and later on watching this, right? We're brand new on YouTube, so don't forget to subscribe and follow. But you know, in chef terms, the phrase "it doesn't suck" can mean a lot of things. So it really depends on the context. But yeah, I think that's fair to say.
I think the only context for that really is just like, hey, you know what? It was acceptable.
Yeah.
Or it was
acceptable.
Really awesome.
You know,
depends on what kind of sarcasm you're using, you know?
Right. It's whatever your brand of sarcasm is and how well you know the person. But to be fair, see what I did. To be fair,
I see what
to
you
be
did
fair,
there.
It was adequate. So I want you to kick us off. Like, let's go dish by dish. We're going to do a complete recap of our food at the fair.
Well, once we got together, because we did not show up at the same time, we my wife and I had to go get coffee because, you know, you got to start your day off with coffee. Caffeine definitely helps, you know, the day just go by a little bit better. And after 100%. That, after a nice black cup of coffee, you go to deep fried gumbo. Yeah. That was the first thing we tried. I'm not going to lie. It was good.
Dude,
I was not expecting that, but it was awesome.
It really was great. I think this was my second or third time to have it. I haven't been disappointed any of the times. Really, really cute presentation. It got served with hot sauce and crackers, much like a bowl of gumbo would. Really clever execution with the rice. You know, they probably froze it kind of like an arancini, right? So it was like a big fried rice ball that had a little gumbo and then gumbo for dipping, which is kind of my favorite part. Really,
I thought that was actually pretty cool. Like that was like the perfect touch for it, you know, because of course you get that good gumbo flavor out of it, but then you have some extra gumbo sauce or gumbo. Yeah. You know, I liked it. And then the fried okra, I don't know about you. I'm a huge fan of fried okra. It makes me happy. Now, would I ever make it from scratch? No, but I would eat the hell out of it. Just saying.
There is something really, you know, easy and brilliant. Like there's a reason why fried okra comes pre-battered and frozen, because all the slime and the mess is gone, and dude, you're not dirtying up the entire kitchen, and the cornmeal sticks just the right way. Yeah, I mean, there's a science to it, right? And so there's no shame in a little pre-breaded fried okra. It's delicious. It's so magical. It's magical.
There's no other way to put it, you know.
Absolutely.
So, okay, I have to admit, I felt kind of bad because, you know, we decided we're going to split all of our food 3 ways.
Sure.
And my wife and I split like half of it, halves. So it was like I was getting a quarter of everything. And then you were stuck with like, you know, half of everything that we got. So, you know, I tried to eat as much as I could. So the first dish, I was like, okay, this is really awesome. I need more food because I was starving. Like it was just like, it was the thing that just really set my hunger off, and I was like ready to eat everything. It was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, appetizers. They gotta fuel up your appetite. I didn't feel bad about it at all. Like it was a marathon, not a sprint. Was I full by the end of the day? Yes. But was I also satisfied? Also, yes.
Oh no, I just wanted to sprint, and it took every ounce of energy for me to not do that. Serious.
There's a science to it, though. There's a science to it. So I think we were consuming food from something like 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. It was not for the faint of heart.
Right.
So it was not for the faint of heart, but I feel like we rose to the occasion 100%.
Oh,
so
yeah.
What was the next item we tried? Was it the tostada, or was the tostada and the lobster corn dog, right?
No, so once we ate that gumbo, then I was told that if you could test drive new Chevys. Remember that? And I got all excited.
That's right.
Now keep in mind, everyone, we are not endorsed by Chevy, nor do they even have an idea of who in the world we are. But I got to test drive a couple of things, which is pretty cool. But yes, moving on to that, that's where we got like the lobster corn dog, and then we got that cucumber lemonade, and that's when you got your, what was it, the ramen tostada? Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, so the lobster corn dog's been around for 1 or 2 years. Delicious, right? Just
it was
really.
I was expecting
really
a little bit more texture to the batter itself, but you know what? Like once you bit into that, it just kind of married together very well, and that balance was just awesome. So even though there wasn't any crunch, I was totally looking past that.
I mean, it kind of did have that. It was more of like a flake, like a traditional tempura, where I think, I mean, a little bit softer. And so I think if you're thinking of traditional corn dog, then it's that first bite is a bit of a letdown, except that the recovery of it is, oh my God, there's lobster in here, So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the flavor itself was totally worth it. And then it had like that little remoulade with it, which was really good too. But I don't even think that needed any of that remoulade, because by itself, it was just amazing.
Yeah, it has a really great flavor all its own. I remember the first time I got to try it was just insane. And I feel like it's a really good value too. Like they could have really gone skimpy with like a half of a tiny rock lobster tail, but you really it's a good bang for your buck. I feel.
No, I agree.
So,
I think whoever created that was on point, spot on with it. It was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I have to say that cucumber lemonade was so refreshing. Holy cow. The only problem was that I did not ask for less ice, because I just wanted more lemonade than ice. You know what I'm saying? Because all that ice just like takes up a lot of volume.
Right.
Yeah, that cucumber lemonade was so refreshing, and holy cow, was it good.
Yeah. It looked amazing. I've had a lot of the flavored, like non-alcoholic beverages from this particular. For anybody who's ever been to the State Fair of Texas, it's a tiny little beer garden that's right outside that large green exhibition building if you're coming in at the back of the fair. So usually you'll find some new food items there, and you're able to get beer flights there and wine flights. But yes, they always have a couple of different like lemonades or juice blends available, and it looked amazing. It looked super refreshing.
I'm gonna have to do that next year, like when it's triple digits in the summertime. Like, you have to do it now,
Yeah, 100%.
But then going to that ramen tostada, now that wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I had no clue what to expect. So then you get it, and it's just like a package of ramen noodles with, it was like beef and shredded cabbage and salsa and Takis and all that. It was good. Right. The flavor was good, but I don't know what were you expecting with that?
Well, I want to read the description for the listeners, and then we can say whether it holds up or not. So this is a new item for this year. It also wasn't what I was expecting at all. So they described it as a ramen noodle cake being flash fried. So that's actually acting as the tostada, right? Instead of a traditional corn tortilla. Yeah. Smothered with made from scratch savory seasoned taco meat. Yes, I think it was well-seasoned taco meat. Would you agree?
Yeah, it was.
Sure.
I would have wanted a little bit more texture out of it, because like, like when you're cooking ground beef and you leave chunks in there, like you get just a little, like it kind of gets that crust on the from the bottom, Like this one had no crust, but I mean, it was still flavored very nicely.
Right. I mean, it kind of tasted like sometimes people, if they're making huge quantities of ground beef, they'll add a little bit of liquid and it breaks
Mhm.
up like the kernels. And so I think that was kind of the mouthfeel that they were going for, but it's also not my preference because I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
In the description, it goes on to say that it's topped with a crispy Asian sesame seed slaw. I think they're playing a little fast and loose with the words here. It tasted like American mayonnaise based coleslaw to me.
I think they were going more for like the Asian fusion, which is fine,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know,
It didn't quite land. And then it had Mexican queso blanco crumbled Takis on top, which that's I mean, it had like 4 Takis on top, but
and it also had like
you
a
know,
red salsa on top,
it
you know.
did.
So,
It
so
did.
there was a lot
So
of layers of flavors that just kind of they normally I'd be all about like, oh, it balanced very well. And I'm not gonna say it didn't, but you got more of like the salsa than the cabbage. You got more of like that ground beef than anything, you know, like so it really didn't balance the way I was expecting it to,
yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, it tasted really good, and for it being like the third item that we tasted, I still had quite a big appetite at the time, right? But the execution was just a little bit of a hot mess. But like, would I eat it again? Sure, I'd
I
eat it
would eat
again.
it again too. Yeah, most definitely.
But I'm also like a trash panda, like a life size trash panda. So
That I mean, you know, I think that anything could be edible, it could be good, but when it's at the state fair, there's something special about it to where everything deep fried, just fantastic.
yeah, I mean that's what you're going for. So
Yeah.
you can get a
I won't
you can get a
discriminate.
Ferris wheel like anywhere else, right? But the food
Uh-huh.
is it's definitely an experience in and of itself.
Oh yeah.
So all
So
right,
then
what did we eat next?
we went for dessert and got fried Oreos and fried Nutter Butters.
Okay.
What'd you think of that? I thought I've never had a fried Oreo in my life. Ever.
Man, okay, so I've been on the fried Oreo train for a while. We got the fried Nutter Butters when they first premiered. I love those things. I'm a huge peanut butter fanatic. I like how the cream and the Oreo kind of meshes with the cookie when it's deep fried, so the whole thing is kind of like mousse on the inside. Did you care for that or no? Were you looking for more texture on the inside or?
Disregard the disgusted look on my face. It was awesome. I loved it. I loved that. When, like you said, you're right. We got them fresh out of the fryer, so like those Nutter Butters, even the Oreos too, like they just melted in your mouth. You know, I was
Yeah.
expecting a crunch, and when I didn't get it, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, the creaminess from like the center of those cookies. Damn, that's all I
Dude,
can
it's
say.
so good.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's this phenomenon that happens when you're grinding like Oreos in a food processor where the cream disappears and everything becomes like one homogeneous mixture. But the opposite happens when you deep fry it. Like the moisture from the cream just makes the whole thing luscious, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
crazy.
and then
So
it
good.
was great. Yeah, and so that was, I guess, brunch, if you will. Because remember, after that, we went to go check out all the butterflies. That was cool. I've never done that before either. And
I've never
yeah,
done it before either.
look, I even got some great pictures. I don't know if you can see it that well,
It's
but
awesome. You got
look
to
at that
be like
color.
act like a real influencer. You gotta put your hand behind it and
Wow.
stuff. I
Look,
see that.
look,
That's a really
there's
great
you and the
shot, though.
butterfly.
It's me, Butterflyception. Hey.
Yeah, I got some good pictures of some butterflies. I really didn't expect my phone to be doing it. I have a Samsung, by the way, and we are not endorsed by Samsung either, nor do they know who we are. One day, we can
One
dream.
day they will know who we are.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the butterflies were awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I was petrified of like hurting one. You know, like
Right?
if I was at home and I saw a giant moth, I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably shoot like assault gun at it and kill it. But in there, I was afraid to do anything. You know, I was afraid to move. That was scary.
Yeah. You're definitely reminded of how delicate they are. It was really fun.
Especially when you see all those signs that say "Don't touch the butterflies," "Don't hurt the butterflies," this
Right.
and that. You know, so yeah.
You're
But
like, I'm a big people compared to these butterflies. I don't know. I'm like Godzilla in here.
I'm a bull in a china shop for the most part, and when I go into someone's home and it's clean, my hands are on my side the entire time. I just kind of look like a robot because I'm afraid to touch anything,
100%.
Yeah. But what made it all worth it was afterwards we had was it some sort, it was like a fruit cup or you had.
Yes.
So you had with pineapple and it was like what, coconut or pina colada or something like that?
Yeah. So I got an agua fresca. I got coconut flavor that was full of, so it was like a coconut juice, coconut water blend, right? And it had huge chunks of pineapple. This thing was an entire quart. So you want to talk about getting your arm workout? Was like carrying around this entire quart deli container of a beverage was insane.
I don't know how y'all didn't get full from all that. I mean, that fruit was nice and refreshing.
Yeah.
Like the pineapple's always good. And then the one that we had like a lot of jicama and cucumber and looked like pineapple. And
so Steve and his lovely bride, they split a rusa. It's Spanish for Russian, but that doesn't mean that in this context. But it's a drink that's usually made with squirt or grapefruit soda. Usually has like chamoy. There's a tahini around the rim. It comes with a candy coated straw and then pineapple, orange, and jicama, sometimes cucumber. And it's really amazing. There's a brand new Canosaurus Cantina. It's right by the old science place. If you've ever been to the Texas State Fair, it's right at the back of the lagoon where the swan boats are, and they have some incredible things back there. I saw a quesadilla the size of my forearm. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was insane.
Really cool.
It was insane.
We'll have to send you these pictures so that way you can put them up in the videos and stuff like that so people can see what we're talking about. We're not crazy, but these pictures are just awesome.
I'm a little crazy, but
for food, right? I am too, but I think you're a little more crazy than I am.
Nah. It's a spectrum. There we go.
It's a term of endearment. So what do we have next? What do you think? I
believe next it was the Creole etouffee beignets and the cornbread sausage bombs was all in one visit.
Yeah, is correct.
That is correct. All right. So
what it was? Yeah. It was the beignets, and wasn't it like it was some sort of? Yeah, I guess the sausage bomb. That's what it was. Wasn't it like pimento cheese or something like that?
So yep. So one of the new items was the cornbread and sausage bombs. Those had smoked sausage, pimento cheese, and jalapeno, and they were dipped in cornbread batter, and they came with jalapeno ranch. Now that's what the description says, but it tastes like regular ranch to me. It tastes like regular ranch. Yeah.
The ranch did not blow my skirt up.
No, it wasn't like mind blowing, but ranch. I mean, it's good because it's ranch, right? But
ranch goes great with everything, kind of like peanut butter.
Dude, these were fantastic, but there's not much like meat and cheese combination that you couldn't dip in cornbread and deep fry, and I would be like all over. We're just gonna be honest.
But those, the etouffee beignets, holy cow!
Yeah, so they bill this as etouffee inside of a French donut. So that's basically a really rudimentary description of what a beignet is. But onions, bell peppers, celery, the etouffee sauce, shrimp, sausage, and rice, all dipped in beignet batter and deep fried. These things were fantastic. They were
Insert Homer Simpson excitement here. How's it go?
Yes, just like that.
It's a horrible impression, but still.
Nope. Well, it's immortalized on film now. So
we're about to get sued for all we're worth by the Simpsons.
No, cancel us, Matt Groening. Thank you. All right. So yes, cornbread, sausage bombs, and Creole etouffee beignets, both a hit, I would say.
And you know what? We went to go see your buddy at, was it Finch Barbecue Sauce or Finch Barbecue?
Yes, Finch's Barbecue in the shopping pavilion.
Shout out to them, free advertising for them because we got to try their barbecue sauce and their seasonings, and just the regular one by itself was awesome. You think of Texas barbecue and you think like and correct me if I'm wrong, like you think very spicy, ketchup based, brown sugar, Worcestershire. Like, there's all sorts of different stuff, but this one was almost like a combination of like Texas meets like North Carolina, where it was almost kind of vinegary, but it was still thick, right? So it was good.
Absolutely.
And the one that got me in a good way, it got me in the feels, was his habanero and honey one.
Yes.
It was so good, but
It's
you know,
amazing.
I'm a big sissy when it comes to like spice, so it a little bit went a long way, and it put
Right.
oh man, it
But I find huge shout out to Chris and Wendy Finch. You guys can find all the products at finchbarbecue.com. That's FINCHBBQ.com. Their original barbecue rub is fantastic. The
we got that too.
habanero and honey dry rub, I got a canister of that while we were at the fair. It is mind-blowing. And if you are not huge on the heat, it is a slow build heat that you feel in the back, right on the finish. And it's really, really tasty, because one of my biggest pet peeves is heat without flavor. And this delivers both. And then you're talking about, we talked about Texas barbecue on the barbecue episode, right? Like we definitely have a motif that we're going for when you're talking about traditional Texas barbecue sauce flavors, but man, he really balances it with the acid. And I so appreciate that. And those products are excellent. And you got a t-shirt, so you get to represent, right? So it's awesome.
Yeah. I'm actually repping something else today. I'm repping my Cannibal Corpse shirt because,
hey,
October and I love death metal. So it's a win-win all around.
So
yeah, I'll have to showcase my cool Finch shirt some other time.
Nothing says October like a death metal t-shirt or something.
That's right. Let's see. So then after that, we have those crab tater bites, crab tater tatch.
Yes. So
you have to have that accent when you say tater tatch.
Deep fried cheesy crab tater bites, they said. I can't call them tater tots because Ore-Ida will sue us.
Oh yeah, tater bats. They're tater bats.
Tater bats. Right?
Hashtag don't cancel us.
Hashtag don't sue us, please. But yes, these things were pretty fantastic. Now, for something that billed itself as crab, there was a lot of teeny tiny shrimp in the sauce. I was very confused by this.
Yeah. That was a crawfish, wasn't it? Or was it shrimp? It looks like it was crawfish. Yeah.
What's that description say though?
I don't know.
Actually, those are not right. Those are not a brand new item. So that's not one of the new items this year. But I believe that they were a finalist. But they had a really great flavor, though. I appreciated that bite at the end that they had on the back end.
They got me with crab and kept me with potato. And then the cheese was just a huge bonus. That cheese sauce that came with it.
It was great. Now, without those, if it had been like a cold, creamy based like dipping sauce, I don't think I would have enjoyed them as much, for sure.
Now, I have to admit, after we ate those, we walked by that giant pizza place, and I really wanted to try it because it just looked really good. But I was afraid that if we had split even one slice of pizza, which was enormous, I thought we were going to get full. So I tried to refrain just a little bit, and I actually practiced self-control. You'll be very proud of me for that one.
Amazing.
Because I don't have that when it comes to food usually. Yeah.
Well, if you're telling me right now that your self-control kicked in after the 8th item, then okay, cool.
That's not 8, is it? It's
something like that. Yeah.
Well,
hey, you know what? It's okay.
So what I thought was awesome was like we had a couple savory things and then something sweet.
Yeah.
So it was like appetizer, entree, dessert, like multiple times throughout the day. And then what was that? It was that what did they call it? The strawberry bread. That real fluffy.
So Dallas local spot Sandoichi has Japanese style. Yes, we have Japanese style milk bread sandwiches.
So good.
This was a strawberries and cream sando that had strawberries and chantilly cream in the inside, and oh my gosh,
bread was so fluffy.
So good. It's like the best Wonder Bread you'll ever try. So for anybody who doesn't know, and that's not a knock on Wonder Bread, like I've talked some crap about Wonder Bread in my life. It has its place, but the Japanese make Japanese milk bread, which has a very, very specific type of rise, and they treat the dough very gently. You're not kneading it. This isn't pizza dough, right? And so it has very, very light levels of, it does not that it has less gluten. It's just that the gluten is less formed. So it's not chewy. It's soft and fluffy, and it is really something special. It really
You
is.
throw in that chantilly cream and strawberries, and geez.
Man. And then seasonally, they make like a mixed fruit sando that has like kiwi and peaches and pineapple. Oh, it's so good. Yes.
I'm about to eat my hands just trying to
Don't drool
contain my
on your
excitement,
don't drool on your death metal t-shirt there, buddy.
right?
All right.
Yeah, that was good. And then of course you have to down it with it was some sort of Arnold Palmer. I don't.
Yes, they offered a yuzu Arnold Palmer.
There you go. Yeah, I was like, I knew it was something, a different themed, but it was good. Like once again, I made the mistake of messing up by asking for no ice, or I forgot to ask for that. So,
you have to maximize the beverage bargain by asking for no ice. That's how they get you.
Yeah, jerks. That's how they make it last for like thousands of people.
Hey, listen, in their defense, they're used to selling it in a state that has like the hottest summers on record. So everything automatically comes with ice. It's like you can't fault them too hard.
Don't get me wrong. I like cold drinks, cold beverages, but
cold drinks.
when I'm real thirsty and I want a lot of it, you can't have like ice, too much ice in there, because then you get nothing.
You know what they say.
Stars at night are big and bright.
Well, sometimes, but they also say yuzu can't have your cake and eat it twice. So I'm saying.
Insert Stephen laugh.
It's laugh track. We have to get a new producer so they can put a laugh track in here.
Wait, I'm the producer. Wait, no.
All right, what was next? What did we do after this?
Next, we had that bread pudding. What was it, like a bourbon?
Yes. It had quite possibly the longest name of any fair item in history. It's deep fried candy pecan bacon bread pudding.
6 words.
Dude, for something that's big. So
I lost count after the 3rd word. That was a lot.
There were more words in the description than there were pieces of it in the tray.
Yeah, there weren't even that many components in it, but yeah, the name itself was just like, it was long as a tongue twister. I couldn't even say that once.
That's a big fancy name for a little feller like you.
Right? That was pretty good though. I enjoyed it thoroughly. But it didn't, to me, like I was expecting like a bread pudding, custardy kind of.
I wanted a huge piece of like moist, gooey bread pudding.
I didn't get that, but it did not
some sort of
like it was still good.
Like I wanted some sort of like creme anglaise situation, a little traditional. Heck, I would have eaten a raisin in this context, even for that, if it was like the right way. But these were really reminiscent of Sonic French toast sticks for me.
I don't think I've ever had those, but
what?
I know. It's like you don't even know me anymore.
Hey, everybody, please welcome Chef Steven Gonzalez out from under the rock where he's been living for the last 10 years, apparently.
He was the co-host of the Food Podcast.
Well, it's been real.
Expressed his views on not going to Sonic.
So
something I just don't go. I just always forget about it.
I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, it tasted kind of like that, or kind of like a fried cruller, I guess, if you would. But
yeah, I could totally see that. You know what it kind of reminded me of? Like just a small hint was it kind of reminded me of Cinnamon Life cereal. I don't know why.
Yes, 100%. I think that's an accurate. Yeah, that's like, totally
especially
accurate.
After it sits in milk for like 5 seconds and it gets soggy instantly. But it was good, Yeah.
I think that there must have been some cinnamon component on the candy pecans, because it reminded me of the syrup that comes off of the pecans when you're making like the man, I'm about to destroy all the credibility that I have forever and ever, but I can't ever remember the name of the bread pudding that is made for Dia de los Muertos, and it reminded me of that, the cinnamony flavor that comes out of the cinnamon.
Don't you
that's the syrup? No, that's like the pastry, but there is like a bread pudding. See, my credibility is gone. It's
bread
gone.
pudding.
Yeah.
Bread
anyway.
pudding. Oh,
Yeah.
Capirotada?
Yes, capirotada. Exactly.
Oh.
That's the one. So, yeah.
Well, you're not losing your credibility. I had to ask about that. Did you
Like,
notice the certainty in my voice?
Well, he's not Googling it over there, ladies and gents. He is taking a selfie.
Yeah. Right. You gotta take selfies. No,
yeah.
because I was like, I know that one. I should know that one. Because
No,
I grew up eating it too. That's the bad part.
It has that cinnamon, that cinnamon and sugar kind of like feel. Hey, this wasn't my favorite thing ever that I've had at the fair, but it certainly didn't slow me down.
Yeah.
I need it again.
Yeah. It was heavy, but thank God it was a small portion. And we split it up amongst 3 people, but we were still at that point. I was starting to get just a little bit sluggish,
Yeah, it was. We had to take a breather. Had to get I myself had to get a carbonated beverage. I never travel to the fair without Rolaids and Pepto in some form. You've got to get all that walking in from place to place, and you really got to pace yourself.
Didn't we get a beer at that point or something like that?
Yep, it was beverage time at that point. Now tell me, what was it that you got from Raw and Sons? You got something citrusy.
It was some sort of like lemon beer. It wasn't. It's almost like shandy-ish,
Right. But you got it as a float on another beer, or you mixed a couple together, or what was the situation there?
I mixed that one, and that was a huge mistake. But it was almost like a lemon cream-ish beer.
It was lemon
I'm
chill.
not gonna lie, I don't remember what it was. What the 2 beers that I mixed together, but they were. I mean, at first it hits you real bright. It hits you in the mouth with citrus, and then you get like that bitterness of the hops in the beer and all that. And it was good, but you can only get like a small cup before you're like, okay, I just need to return this, or I'm not wasting beer.
You're not getting a tall one of those, but it was a really good something refreshing to have in the interim.
Oh yeah.
I like a shandy as much as the next guy. I'm not gonna lie though, I can't remember the 2 things that you mixed together, but when you let me taste it, I was immediately like, this is lemon pine sol fresh right here, and not for me.
It was by that point I already ordered it. I already paid for it. So what do you do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Right?
I mean, down it. Like, you just have to down it.
Bad beer is kind of like bad pizza. It's still
I should have gone for a 3rd cucumber lemonade, but by that point we're too far away.
Man, we were all the way on the other side of the fair, though.
That cucumber lemonade was the bomb. If anything, that was one that stuck out with me.
All right. Oh yeah, absolutely. What was it? Fried pho next?
Yeah, it was the fried pho and the fried coffee. So we'll start with the pho.
This is the pièce de résistance as far as I'm concerned. This is just dude. I was immediately upset that we didn't have another one to eat. I would have eaten a second.
We should have. I know, right?
That one. It was so good.
It was. It was like it was like a deep fried burrito or egg roll, if you will, because like all the noodles, all the beef was inside. They had like the little packets of like the hoisin, the sriracha, and they had cilantro on top. But then like they had that dipping cup of like actual pho.
Yeah, it was like the broth. I thought it was so clever, and it worked so well.
So be honest.
It was delicious.
Be honest. Was that your favorite? Because that was my favorite.
Yes, it was my favorite, hands down.
Yeah, I think even though we were full, all of our faces lit up like in a good way. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you're eating and you're stuffed and you tell yourself, I'm gonna down this. I have to eat this. I have to eat this. And you just kind of have a look of disgust on your face. I can tell you, I was starting to get real full, but my face just lit up when I was eating it because it was so good.
Well, I don't work out to earn my food. I don't see food as as a reward or anything else. But I do have a saying that it's almost true, as bad as it sounds. It's not a meal until I hate myself. I will turn the full switch off. I will turn the full switch off for the sake of research. And that's exactly what I did. So regrets.
We went on a gluttonous adventure, and it was magnificent.
It was so good. It was so good. It was so good.
but then, moving on to like the dessert part. Okay, so I for years have wondered how do you deep fry coffee? How do you
Sure.
deep fry coffee? And I figured, and once we bit into it, it all made sense.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
it was like a custard or something, you know?
Well, yeah.
It's-
So I'll elaborate a little bit for the listeners. In the past, the State Fair of Texas has done several fried liquids, and so I'm going to be like fried liquids in air quotes, right? So usually, what this consists of is some funnel cake batter, a sweet croquette or fritter of some kind in that liquid, and sometimes the liquid is warm. So there's been all sort of things. There's been like fried Big Red and fried Coca-Cola and fried beer and everything else. Usually that's the approach. This was a completely different approach, and I was like very pleased at what they did with this. It was custardy. I think we said kind of reminiscent of a sticky toffee pudding on the inside.
yeah, I think that's a better
And then
better example.
somewhere between there and a cake ball, but it had toasted coffee grounds. It had the condensed milk like you would see in a Vietnamese iced coffee. It was super clever, really cute, and a little caramel.
It was
And then,
rich, but it was
dude,
so good.
it was so good, and it was a really nice contrast of like warm and cold. And then
Yeah,
it had a little orange. Like I was most impressed by this. Kind of had this like orange blossom,
yeah.
right? And I was just like, like where is that from and like why? You know, it was great. It was fantastic.
If I ever get honey, I always have to have like the orange blossom honey. There's something about it I absolutely love. It just takes me back to my childhood.
So
Like just
good.
the aromatics of that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it just makes everything so much better. But yeah,
Indeed.
it was so good. Like I said, for years I've wondered how they do that, and now I know. They didn't do like a deep fried beer, did they? Because I know in the past they've done that, right?
They did. They have done it in the past. I don't know if they had it this year or not. It was so underwhelming that I've not sought it out again. So it's just kind of like, oh, good grief. You know, it's just like, okay, this is fun one time, but I'm not going back for it, you know?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
And then we're getting towards the end of our.
I believe there's one
attention.
item left, if
There's
I remember correctly.
Two more.
All right,
Yeah.
you go for
One
it
of them
because I'm
was
missing something.
it was a fried Monte Cristo, but it
You're
had that
right,
barbecue sauce. It was like a raspberry barbecue sauce.
Yeah. So Ferris Wheelers, local. That's a pun. That's a fair pun, by the way. Ferris Wheelers, local barbecue place, do a really, really good burnt end. But they had like a brisket and I believe Gouda, deep fried. Was it Gouda? Help me remember. Maybe Swiss.
It looked like the Monte Cristo type of.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it had cheese of some kind in it. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a deep fried Monte Cristo style. And instead of grape jelly or powdered sugar, they went the savory route, and it had like a barbecue sauce drizzled on top of it. It's sweet.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was good.
It was great. The bread was a little.
At that point, I was starting to get a little too full, so I didn't quite enjoy it as much as I thought I would. But the flavor was good. I liked the smokiness of it as well.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it had a really good taste, but I think that it was honestly, the bread was just a little bit soggy, right? Like if you're gonna do it, so you've got to really carefully like triple bread it. Okay, I have the description right here. It was brisket, American cheese, Swiss smoked turkey, and it was the raspberry chipotle barbecue sauce. So yeah. I think that description makes it sound a little bit better than it was. It wasn't terrible, right? But it gives it a lot of like, it really sets you up for a lot of expectations there when it was like, okay, yeah, like this is a fried pile of, this is goopy. So it wasn't like super, it didn't blow my socks off. Now, would I eat it again? Yes, I would.
Totally. Yeah. I would totally give it another shot.
Yeah.
Mostly because I am always a sucker for like a Monte Cristo. And then you have like all those deep fried, cheeses and meats, in that awesome batter and all that. Like I don't know. It takes me back to the days when there was a restaurant called Bennigan's.
Bennigan's Monte Cristo. My God, I'm surprised. I think
Based
one of my legs
at a young age. I'm sorry.
I think one of my legs is completely made of Bennigan's Monte Cristos, and like maybe there's like my joints are like lubricated with like the broccoli cheese bites. Like
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's called diabetes. you might want to see a doctor for that. But I mean, yeah, Bennigan set the bar.
Don't you tell me how to live my life, Steve.
At a young age, I can remember taking a bite of a Monte Cristo sandwich, and my eyes just saw the light.
Dude, something really mind-blowing and then comforting at the same time. It was so good. So good.
Even for a chain restaurant. But yeah, this one, it was good. Like, I would eat it again, but I would, I think it had sat in the window for just a little bit too long. And that I could be wrong.
I think they were batch frying a little bit of them. And it's like, okay, well, if I had this super fresh and it burnt the roof of my mouth, I might have a different take on it. But yeah.
But I think like for a Thursday where there wasn't a ton of people, I think they could have done it to order. But like for the Saturday, like I would imagine on the weekends, dude, totally. Like, because they're going to sell like that,
So speaking of Thursdays, if anybody has never been to the Texas State Fair, they do this thing called Thrifty Thursdays, where you get discounts on the food and you can even get special deals at each stall or booth where you get like a half order of a previous year's contestant. And then, you can try a little bit of everything without breaking the bank. Now, for me, I play the long game. I always plan on bringing the entire bank with me because I want to eat as much food as possible. So, two schools of thought there. But if you're visiting for the first time ever and you want to try a bunch of food, Thursday is the day to visit.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then we're going to wrap with the last thing that we ate, which was number like 45 or 50 or something like that?
Yeah, indeed.
It was with the oxtail egg rolls?
It was the Oxcellent Soul Roll, which says it's a savory beef oxtail been simmered for hours with potatoes, smoked Gouda, mozzarella cheese, celery, bell peppers, and sweet onions in a flaky spring roll that's deep fried, served with Southern-style hush puppies, which I didn't know that there were other style hush puppies, but I think that's probably for another episode, and a garlic chili sauce. So before we get into this, where do you rank this compared to everything else?
I would put it in the top quarter of what we had. It was good. I think because it came with sambal, right? I think that's what you said.
So they were calling it garlic chili sauce, which is
sambal. Yeah, I didn't even need all that. Like I just by itself, it was pretty good. The cheese complemented that oxtail where like it all just melted together. Like what I really love about braised meats, especially like oxtail, is you get that real buttery kind of texture to it. Yeah. And if you have like a cheese, like a fat, like a cheese that, marries next to it, I think it's award winning, I mean, these probably won't win any awards, but they should because they were good. And I think the only thing I probably would have done differently is I would have changed up the dipping sauce.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on which way you want to go, right? I freaking love oxtails. Like,
me too.
They are amazing. And whatever style you want, right? Like the Caribbean way, a more Southern, like soul food direction. But either way they could have gone with that, the seasoning, the style of the dish and everything, the sauce was hot garbage. It ruined it, quite frankly. And I'm like, dude, there's so many other sauces you could have put with this. You could have made the Gouda into a queso. You could have
no, you know what it needed? It needed a brown gravy. Like that's what it needed.
Like it needed brown gravy. It needed the pan drippings. It needed that braising sauce, like thickened and put some nice bright green herb in it or something like that. Or even like at that point, it's like you have the really slow braised oxtail and the creaminess of the Gouda. I'm like, dude, I would have taken this with Chipotle ranch. You know what I mean? Like,
I could see that. I really think that brown gravy would have given it almost like a poutine-ish type of feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the garlic chili was like an interesting choice, but it was so salty.
It was salty. It really did bring out the saltiness of everything. But that's, like I said, I think that brown gravy, personally, that's what I'm up on right now. But with those hush puppies, the Southern style hush puppies,
as opposed to those Yankee hush puppies. What?
I mean, yeah. when you think of hush puppies, like a lot of the times it's with seafood and stuff like that, and you have it with tartar sauce, right? Typically.
Sure.
But yeah, I think a brown gravy with like you said, all the flavorings from the bottom of the pan, all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you had gone real heavy, like on the onions and the garlic and your, all your mirepoix, I think that would have been just killer.
I mean, you could call it, but you could take the easy way out too, and you could just be like, it's an onion gravy, right?
True.
But I think if you got all the fond off the bottom of the pot, all that brown color, like it would have really complemented it. And so, I'm not here to crap on anybody's
not at all
creation, right? Like I know people work hard on these dishes all year long. They go through judging, they compete against each other. There's finalists and winners and everything else. I hated to see such a beautiful food. It was just like, the sauce is like, it's not doing anything for me. And I don't know, it's kind of sad, but I would also eat it again. I would just probably go find barbecue sauce from another stand and then make it happen.
I'd probably just ask them for no sauce because I honestly think that it didn't even need the sauce because the way that the cheese and the oxtail were, the way they married together, they didn't even need the sauce.
And it had plenty of fat. It wasn't dry or anything like that. It had plenty of things and flavors going on inside of that spring roll wrapper. So. Yeah.
Hashtag please don't cancel us.
Hashtag please don't cancel us. We love you, Texas State Fair. But closing thoughts. What you got?
Closing thoughts. I would definitely go back next year and do the State Fair again on a Thursday. I can do concerts all day, all night, festivals where there's a ton of people. But if I don't have to deal with a ton of people, I would definitely go again on a Thursday. Before everyone gets there, I would probably take even more money because everything's expensive there.
It is.
But you know what?
It is.
I'd do it all over again.
Listen, it's not every day that you get to stand on some, pretty crowded concrete streets, questionable smells being yelled at by carnies. It's an entire experience that you're paying for, okay? So if you got to fork over like $14 to $16 for one food item, then I promise you it's worth it.
Yeah, agreed. I still won't get on any rides because I want to keep my feet down, but I would do it all over again. It was awesome. Yeah, I had a blast. For being a first timer, done. Yeah.
I definitely agree with your assessment of Thursday. I think that, we definitely picked the right day. We hit it at just the right time. The Food for Thought cast, peopling in moderation since 2023. Okay. I think it was a great time had by all. I was so happy to get to experience it with you. And thank you so much for coming to talk about it.
Yeah, most definitely. I had a blast. I can't wait to do it again next year.
All right. Where are we going to find you on the internet?
Find me on social media, Chef Steven Gonzalez on Facebook, Chef Stegons on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and go to chefstevengonzalez.com. Talk food. Yeah.
Talk food. Buy the man's cookbook. It's fantastic.
I am not as dumb as I look. I'm a little bit more capable in the kitchen than I let on. I promise. And this book will definitely do that. It'll show you.
I'm not as dumb as I look is going to become the next big soundbite that we use on the Food for Thought cast. Just want you to know it's going to be sampled. It's going to go on shirts and hats. So here we are. So,
I'm not as dumb as I look.
Here we are. So listeners, if you ever get the chance to go to the State Fair of Texas, or if you're local, won't you shout us out on social media? Let us know what you ate, if you liked it, if you hated it. Tell us what's good.
And won't you be my neighbor?
And won't you be our neighbor? Take care. That's a wrap for today. Until the next episode of the Food for Thought cast, make good food, eat good food, share it, and be kind to one another.
Thanks so much for listening today. You are part of what makes us special, and we are so glad you joined us. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave a review. Just like food, delicious podcasts are better when you share them with others. Come back for seconds wherever podcasts are served, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Food for Thought cast.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Food for Thoughtcast, or at www.foodforthoughtcast.com, where you can link to all podcast players, or you can send us an email at foodforthoughtcmc@gmail.com.